All right, my good pupils, welcome to GoTo, and I'm very pleased to see that many of you are getting used to it. I see that most of you found the chat box and you've been conversating with me and your classmates, so that's really cool. Before we get started, I'll do a little experiment. Your mics are muted right now, but I'll count down from 3 and unmute your mics. Say hello to everybody and hear the chaos, which is go to. So in 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone. No one's talking, but it does sound like Darth Vader. Can you hear that? Yes, ouch. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mute everyone. I will point out before we get started, because I know that you all going to have questions for me. If you look on the dashboard panel, the same panel that you use to go to the chat box and or change your settings, there is a mute button. There is an unmuted button that you can do this on your side. And then next to that is, it looks like Ronald McDonald's hand because it's a yellow hand. So it looks like a yellow glove and it has a red arrow in it. That would be your raise your hand function. So if you have a question, especially after I go over a function of Diigo, then use that little button to raise your hand. So let's do a little experiment first so I know that you guys know where it is. Why don't you go ahead and press that button and raise your hand for me. Do you guys hear me? Okay, you don't hear me? That's why I did the sound check and we were hearing the music. Hello, hello, hello. I heard you guys.
There are 18. There are 18 other callers on the call.
Okay, guys, can you hear me? Awesome, we're in business. Okay, that's usually why I do a sound check and I play music in the beginning. So I asked if you heard the music and some of you did respond to me and you heard the music. So I'm not sure why my sound went out, but there are some people that did say they heard the music, but that's okay. So now that we got that all out of the way, Again, I want to welcome you guys for coming to this session in the morning. I did give you time to sleep in, so hopefully you're nice and awake. I noticed that some of you went to go get a cup of coffee, and I have a cup of coffee in front of me as well. It's, my favorite thing to drink. Um, but why did I bring you here? Well, one, because you had that obstacle of not getting your laptops until yesterday evening at 5 p.m. I hope that all worked out for you and you were able to launch your launch box, which is very, very exciting. It's definitely very refreshing and comforting that you now have your tools in front of you. So that's cool. Congratulations on that. I'm sure that you're all very, very excited. Okay, this is going to be very short and painless. It's like putting on a band aid and ripping it off really quick. As long as you pay attention and stay with me, answer, uh, ask questions if need be, but be on point. Stay with me for the presentation. I'm gonna walk you through Diigo, and you know, if you're paying attention and you're asking the right questions, you'll have no problem maneuvering and navigating through Diigo. So the first thing I asked you guys to do was to download Google Chrome. Um, Diigo loves Chrome for whatever reason. I know that Justin said Chrome is just amazing, so go figure. Maybe that's why Diigo loves it so much. But it has a functionality, especially you'll be introduced to this in week 2, so don't worry about it right now. But it has a functionality that you can have a screen capture. And the Diigo Ascension works the best with Chrome. You could use it in Firefox, but it's not going to be as user friendly or friendly with the browser. So if you download a Chrome, let's bring Chrome up right now. Um, okay, so this is what's going to appear after you created your account. So I'm going to put the HTTP address or the IP address, diigo.com. And this was actually one of the activities that you were to do is go on Diigo.com and make an account, which is very easy. I'm sure that you guys are all familiar with creating email accounts such as Gmail or Yahoo or even downloading apps. It's really, really easy. It takes less than 5 minutes to create an account. Okay, so once you have your account in Diigo, you'll be prompted after you give all your information to upload either the Diigo Let, or with Chrome it's called the Diigo extension. So are we with me so far? Nick, that is totally up to you. If you want to just take this all in and just watch, that is totally up to you. Again, I'm recording this, so this will be on the community discussion board for you to watch back later or refer to. So it's okay if you don't follow with me. Again, you'll have this throughout the entire month to refer to. Okay, so once you get started, Ashley, yes, you just sign up to Diigo to make an account. You want to sign up through Chrome. So in your search, in the search bar, you want to put Diigo.com, and then again, very self-explanatory. It's going to prompt you to put all your information in to build your account. Okay, so I already have a Diigo account. I already have the extension. So I'm just going to go through everything that you need to do. However, I'm not going to download another extension. So, extension web apps. Go to Diigo extension. Okay, and then it comes up almost like if you were going to add an app to your smartphone. This should look very kind of very similar to um, creating an app or downloading an app into your smartphone. Okay, so all you would have to do is go up here and say add to Chrome. Well, it's going to say add to Chrome. Mine says added to Chrome because I already have it. So once you do that and install it, you should get an icon up on your toolbar just like this. It's a lowercase d in the middle of a blue box. Okay, does everyone see that? Are you with me so far? Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So I'll probably be saying that throughout the entire presentation because I want to make sure that everybody's on the same page. Um, Note that the chat box, I'm sure that you've seen it go by very, very quickly. So if I miss your question, please raise your hand and I will get back to you as soon as I can. But know that I need to finish a thought before I go into it. Oh, yes, that is when my mic was off. I apologize. If you go to where you see all the names, there's a place where you can mute your mic or unmute your mic on your side. And then next to it, it looks like a Ronald McDonald hand because it's yellow and it has a red arrow in between the hand. So all you would have to do is press that button and it would make your hand raise. So let's go ahead and do that. If you find the button, press that so I know that you know that function. Okay, there's a few of you that have it. Okay, it looks like half of you know the function. Okay, so that is where you're gonna go to that's where you're going to go to if you have a question to raise your hand. Again, I'm definitely going to finish a thought before I go ahead and answer your question. But please, if you have anything you need to be that needs to be clarified, go ahead and please raise your hand. Questions are good. Okay, so now that you created your account, you downloaded your you downloaded the app, you're good to go. You're all ready to start your assignment. Okay, so let's pull the assignment over because I'll go step by step so you know what to do when you're in the assignment. Okay. So these are the instructions, and of course, you know, because we went through the platform, the very first lecture, every single assignment and every single activity has assets. And you'll find a rubric, you'll find instructions, and sometimes you'll find a fact sheet that will kind of answer those what's the word I'm looking for? Frequently asked questions, the questions that are asked, like every every month after month. So it's a good idea that before you start anything, you go ahead and you download your assets so you can get an idea of what we're looking for. Okay, so right here in the instructions, it says you're going to create a Diigo account. Okay, author, good question. The time to complete 11 hours. That's really to give you a heads up, like, maybe I shouldn't wait until Sunday when it's due to start this assignment. So those are there on every single assignment to give you a heads up that this is not something you can do in an hour. Now, there are people that are very savvy with the technology, and there are people that are faster than others. But know that when you see something like that, it's going to take you time. If you don't put the time into this assignment, then expect that you are not going to get the grade. Like I said in the very first lecture, you get what you put into it. So it's really there to as a guide to let you know that don't procrastinate. Procrastinators, don't procrastinate. And you really could take this in stages, and I'll show you how to do that in a moment. So, going over the instructions, and of course, this is the first week, so I'm going to go into it uh, a, a lot more than I would in the following weeks, because I'm giving you the tips on how you should break down an assignment and what you should be looking for. So you are to create your Diigo account. You are going to be creating a library, and you're going to create a new list. I'm going to show you how to create a new list. Your new list is going to be DGL vocabulary, and that's what I'm going to be looking for within your Diigo. Okay. You also have another asset called a vocabulary list, and that is all the terms that you guys will be responsible for researching. And we're also going to go into that. It also asks for a section header for each term, and it also asks you to create a definition for each term. This is based on the resources that you are going to use. So let's start and figure out this thing called Diigo. Okay, so the first thing that you are to do is just get a regular Google search. The first week is all about just starting out to find out the functionalities of research and really looking into beyond the first thing that comes up on anyone's search, or even if it does come up, the very first thing, knowing the extensions and where you could find reliable information. Okay, so I'm just going to put a regular Google search, and let's look at our vocabulary. Okay, so this is a look at the vocabulary for this assignment. And the very first term is called digital literacy. Okay, so we're going to go ahead for example purposes and explore digital literacy. Okay, so just like this in a Google search, you are going to type in the term. Okay, are we with me so far? Okay, some are. Alex, you say no. Do you have a question? Do not worry, and I'm noticing I'm scrolling up with the chat box now. Do not worry if the screen is lagging. Um, the recording that I post on the community discussion board is going to be, it's going to flow like I'm flowing. So if it's lagging now, not to worry. It could be your internet connection. It could be a number of things. But know when you watch this back, it's gonna be in real time as I am saying it to you. So, Alex, no worries about that. You could just be listening. Okay. All right. So, getting back to the steps, I went to the vocabulary list and I chose the first element. First element is digital literacy, or the first term. So I typed digital literacy in, and then you get results. Okay. So we have um, Cornell University, we have Wikipedia, and then we also have the Library of Illinois University. Um, Out of these three, where would you go to? What would you go to? And you could type it or raise your hand. All? Okay, Anthony. Cool. The third one, Cornell, Wiki, all of the above. Okay. You guys are not wrong. However, if you read in the instructions, it says we're trying to steer you away from wikis or dictionary.com or an ask.com. So you'll find that in the instructions. It's really, this first week is sharpening those researching skills and digging deeper and finding credible resources. So although you can use Wikipedia from, I think it's twice out of the whole thing, um, it's it's not recommended. It's recommended that you break out of that cycle of looking for the easiest thing and look for the more credible resource. And to answer your question, no, dictionary is not wrong, but a dictionary.com that looks like an ask.com, or it looks like a site where you ask a question and then other people answer that question the best that they know how, it's not really that reliable. But a Merriam-Webster's dictionary, that's going to be a credible source because that has a reputation of being around, or Webster's dictionary. What I'm referring to is exactly what I alluded to. It's those sites where anybody can answer that question, and it's not made up of people um, that are experts or have degrees. And we can go into an entire debate about that. But the fact of the matter is we are trying to get you to research deeper and find credible sources. Okay, so I happen to like Cornell University. It has a great reputation. Many of my friends have been there and graduated. So just from background knowledge, I know that this is a good source. And the fact that the extension is edu, so you know it's coming from an educational resource. You know that they have to back their self up with research and support in order to be credible. So let's go into Cornell University. Okay. And right here at the top, it says digital literacy is. Okay. These are the things that you're going to look for because you are going to be bookmarking your resources, where you get your information from. And all of these resources are going to help you out with creating your own definition and giving an example in your Diigo. I'm going to show you what all this looks like, but just to explain what this functionality is. Okay, so for example reasons, we're at this page, and this very first sentence looks like it's really solid and something that we can use. Okay, so you're going to go up to your icon, your Diigo icon, press on it, and there are several different functions. So there's annotations, which is another word for highlighting. Um, there's save, where you can save your bookmark, and I will definitely show you how to do that because that's one of the functions. You have a screenshot function, which doesn't come into play until week 2, but it's there. You also have a share this page function, which is also going to come in handy in week 2 when you are in your groups. And then down here, you can go back into your library and view all the bookmarks that you did. Okay, so the first thing the instructions ask is that you make an annotation or you highlight the information in order to give you an idea of why you use this resource. Why is this a good resource? So you click on annotate, you have a highlighting function. My favorite color is blue, so I'm going to use blue just because it's my prerogative and I can do what I want. It's my Diigo page. So, like I said, it goes back to you're going to highlight the information that you would like. And yes, yellow is classic, but blue, like Dylan says, is a solid color. So I'm going to go with it. And blue is, is the Giants. So I'm gonna stick with that. Okay, so you highlight the information, and that's going to automatically give you an annotation in your bookmark as soon as you. That's right. I bleed blue. So, so you go over to bookmark, and it looks like it could be a bookmark in a book that you read. And this Dropbox comes down, okay? So there's a couple of things that you need to know about this bookmark page. Okay, one, it's going to show you the title of the website that you got. It's going to have a link, meaning your URL is going to link the URL to your page. I can't stress this enough. If this is checked, uncheck it, please. You do not want your bookmarks private. Why? Because when you send your URL to me as a final submission, if it's private, I cannot read it. If I cannot read it, I cannot grade it. And if I cannot grade it, you will not have a grade, and that's not good. Okay? So you want to make sure that this is not private. And there's another place that you have to make sure that it isn't private. And I'll show you that in a minute. Okay, the other thing that you need to do is it asks that you create tags for every bookmark that you make. Now, Diigo is awesome because it already gives you recommended tags. So there's not much of a thought process that goes into tagging your sources, and all you have to do is click on some of the recommended tags. Now, for the purpose of this assignment, I would like to see 2 or 3 tags because I always get that question. So 2 or 3 tags, make sure this is in private. And the last thing that you need to do for your bookmark is add to a list. So we're talking about creating a list called DGL vocabulary. It's very, very easy. All you have to do is go to create a list, and then you can add whatever you want. In this case, the instructions ask you to create a list called DGL, oops, I don't want to shout, vocabulary, okay? And then can't type, and then press add. Okay, you will only have to do this the first time that you bookmark a page. The other times, it's going to be in this drop-down box where you can add any of your bookmarks to this list. So for the first time, make sure you refresh, because then I'll have the refreshing. So we bookmarked this page. All you have to do is come to the Dropbox, select DGL vocabulary, and save. Okay? So that would be your first bookmark. Does this look like it's doable, guys? You think you could do it? Awesome. Okay, so now you have your bookmark. Now you want to go and check that it's in your library and it's set up the way that you want to. So you go back to your Diigo icon, go down to My Library, and bam, it's right there. Okay, here is the Cornell University website. Here is the link. It's in the DGL vocabulary list, and here is your annotation. Okay, easy peasy. The last thing that you need to do for each term is to make a section. Okay, so you need to go into your list, and you could see that my list, DGL vocabulary, and notice that there's a lock on here. You do not want that lock when everything is all said and done, and I will show you how to get that lock off. If you have that lock on and you send your presentation to me, I will not see your list. So on my end, it will look as though you did not complete that section, and you will lose points for that reason. So make sure when I show you that your list is public. Okay, so we go into our list. Okay, here we go. And over here, you have a list info, and it has all these different functions. You could share, you could print out your list, and you can edit or delete. What I want you to pay attention to is edit. So you go into edit, and you see how it says private only me. That means I am the only one that will be able to see my list. So you want to select public, anyone can view, and then for some reason, Diigo will not let you save unless you pick a category. So I'm just gonna pick games because we're all friendly family here, and it doesn't matter what category you pick, you just need to pick a category and save changes. Okay, easy enough. Cool. All right, so the last thing that I mentioned on the directions is that you have to create sections for each of the vocabulary terms. Well, that is really easy, and I'm going to show you how. So you have to make sure that you are clicked into your list, because you will not have this function if you are just in your library. So make sure that you are clicked into your list, which we are now, and then it gives you a gray toolbar up here. There's a function or a button called Add Section. So you would just click on Add Section, and the instructions call for the section header to be the vocabulary term that you looked up. So in this case, we looked up digital literacy, okay? And digital literacy is going to be your section header. And then in Dimitri, just to answer your question, most of the time it is. Most of the time you would make your list public once and that's it. However, I would double check just to make sure that everything is coming over as public. So you should only have to do it once, but just like anything else, sometimes apps or programs could be funny. So you want to make sure that you double check yourself before submission. Cool. Okay, so getting back to this step. Your section header is the term that you looked up. Then your description is going to be your own definition based on the resources that you collect or you bookmark. So for that reason, that's exactly what I'm going to type in the box for those who have class now and have to watch this back later. So this is your own definition based on the resources you have bookmarked. Oops, I've got an R. Told you I can't type. As well as an example. Okay? Alright? Yeah, I know. I fixed it. I'm definitely not a good typer, I told you guys. Then you add section. Okay, so the header is the term. The description is your own definition based on the resources that you have bookmarked, as well as an example of digital literacy or copyright or whatever the term that you are searching for. So when all is said and done, this is what your Diigo list should look like. It should be the section, and then underneath is going to be your resources. Okay? It is under my recommendation, just to organize yourself, do one term at a time. So take digital literacy, find your resources, make a section. The same thing, then go on to the next term. Find your resources, make your section, then go into the next term. Make sense so far? Awesome. Okay, so now just to recap everything and go back to the instructions and the rubric, I'm going to show you how to get an A if you want to get an A. Okay, so let's go over to the rubric. Now, wait, first, we see that there's 20 vocabulary terms, yes? Okay, so 20 vocabulary terms and a section for each. How many different items will you have if you have one source and one section for each term? 40. Yes, Justin. 40 terms. That's if you have just one source and one section heading for each. Okay, so let's go to the rubric and see what it asks us. Was there a Diigo account created with the proper DGL vocabulary list? Okay, so that's the first thing. You can check that off after the very first term that you create, because you're going to make sure that you create that DGL vocabulary list. Okay, so that could be checked off right away. Were two or more sources bookmarked and highlighted for each term? Okay, so is one source good enough? Nope. Okay, if it's one source, you're gonna fall along the lines as needs improvement or just not at the college level, and ouch, that hurts. That really hurts. Okay, so if you want to be proficient, that means you'll have two sources. You'll have the minimum of two sources for each of the terms. If you want to be exceptional and get that A plus, you are going to have more than two sources. Okay, so minimum, if you want to be proficient and get the B, the absolute minimum, you should have 60 items when you're completed. And that's easily shown on your Diigo page. And I'll show you. Right here it says items, and it'll give you a count. It'll give you a count. Okay. So 60 items at minimum, which sounds like a lot. It really does, but it's not. Once you get the first three, I would say three terms down, it goes so fast because you know what to do now, and it definitely goes a lot faster. So do not be intimidated by the number. Leave that out of your head. Do not be intimidated. Okay? So if you want an A, you should have 80 items or more when everything is said and done. Okay, so the next thing is, was a definition created for each term based on the sources provided? So that's really where you're looking at having all the headers. All the headers are created properly, and you took the resources that you gathered to come up with a definition. Now, to be proficient, it's going to be very, very basic, your definition. It's just going to be, there's not a lot of thought process or effort to really creating a solid definition. Your exceptional is going to have a really solid definition and a solid example to support it. Does that make sense? Carlos, pretty much the example is how I showed you the section and the resource underneath. That's really how the setup is going to be. So as long as you have the section header and the resources underneath, you're good to go. Okay, this right here, this is where your creativity comes into play. This is your time to really showcase your craft or put that creative element in the project. So this is basically you're hitting all the benchmarks, you're learning how to navigate through Diigo, you're learning the terms for digital literacy and all that jazz. But this is where you're applying them and showcasing that you understand the terms. So were statements submitted within the written document using 5 or more terms in the context, rather. So you are taking 5 or more terms and creating either a well-written paragraph, statements using the terms. I've seen people go beyond creative and actually write a short script. Poems, making songs out of it. So it's up to you how you want to execute this part. But know that if you want to do the bare minimum, you will use 5 terms. If you want to go above and beyond, then you'll use more than the minimum of the terms. Okay, and then of course this is kind of easy. It's grammar, punctuation, spelling, and then did you submit everything properly? Okay, so let me show you how you need to submit everything properly, and then we are pretty much good to go. This will be the assignment. Okay, so all you have to do is create a Word document or anything that you have access to, any type of text document or Word document. Justin, yes. If you use more than 5 terms to make a paragraph, then you are going to be more on the exceptional side. Okay, so when all is said and done and you're ready to submit, like I said, you're creating a Word document or a text document or something that you have access to that would give me this the information that I need. Are you talking about Diigo, Elijah? Yes, as I think, who answered that question? Justin answered that question. You should have gotten an email with the codes to download the programs. So look in your student email on Connect and it should be there, okay? If it isn't there, there are so many things on the web itself that you could use. If you use Google Drive, there's a function there that you can create a Word document just as if you had the program. So if that's a problem, Elijah, just make sure you contact me or even talk to me about it in class tomorrow, and I will show you how to use that. Or even if if you want to reach out to one of your classmates. Cool. Okay, so getting back to submission, you have a document wherever you want to have the document in, and it asks for your student name. Oops, can't type today. Okay, student ID number, then the URL to Diigo list, and then statements of understanding. Okay, so your name, student ID number, URL to your Diigo list, which is simply this. You're in your list. You go up here, you highlight it, copy, and paste. And there it is. And this will be your statements of understanding, and that will be, that's it. That's all I need. Okay, statements of understanding, Alec, are taking 5 or more of the terms and using them correctly or effectively in paragraph form, in sentence form, in a poem, a song, however you want to present that material. It's there to let me know that you understand how to apply these terms. Okay, so that's all I need. And then if you look at the instructions, all the instructions are going to have this at the end of them. Oops. This is how your files must be named. This is the naming convention for files throughout your entire program. Okay, so that's first name, last name, first name, assignment name. Okay, so we go over to save as. If it wants to give me that, it doesn't. What's going on with my computer? File. Oh, there we go. My control panel is in the way. Forgive me. Okay, save as. Pearson, that's my last name, underscore Trish is my first name, underscore assignment 1. Oops. Okay. Save. Okay, that's gonna go to my desktop, so let's move this over a little bit. My desktop is really messy, so do not look. Okay, here's the document. If you have a Mac, you just right click by putting 2 fingers in your, I guess you can call it a mouse pad in the middle of your Mac. Go to compress assignment. It gives you this little zip file right here, and that's what you're going to upload to FSO. If you have a PC, same difference. If you want to go ahead and save your document to the desktop so you know where it is, you right click and then same thing, compress whatever you name the file, and that'll give you the zip file. Okay. All right, Spencer, you have a few questions. Where do I find the vocabulary list in the rubric? Definitely on the platform. If you click into the assignment itself, it's going to give you all those assets. 20 words are due on Sunday. Yes. Yes, they are. And no, you do not get 20 words a week. This is pretty much your introductory to all the terms and concepts that is DGL. You are very welcome. And yes, I know it looks like a lot, but it really isn't. Once you get the hang of it and you start getting in a flow of things, it goes very, very fast. And it's a very enriching exercise because it sets the pace for the entire month. And if you're knowledgeable of the terms, it's going to make the discussions that much richer. It's going to make your projects down the line and your assignments that much richer. It's filling your belly with all this knowledge and goodness. Excellent, Dylan. That makes me smile. So I'm very proud to hear that. You're feeling enriched already. So are we starting to be my fat unicorns? I love that. Awesome. Okay, so just to show that really quickly, when you click into the assignment and scroll down, that's where all your assets are going to be. You also have a drag and drop box, and that's where you're going to take your zip file and just drop it in, and then hit save or submit. Okay, and that's all. That's all she wrote, folks. That's 1.5 in a nutshell. I think you all got this. I think you got it. What happens if you accidentally forget to zip it? I will come to your house and kill you. No, I'm just kidding. It'll happen. It'll happen probably the first time, but I want to set you up for success. It's going to be expected throughout your program to know how to zip your files. So just be mindful of before you submit. Look at your project. Make sure that you have everything that is required to submit your project. Make sure it's named correctly. Make sure the file is zipped. Make sure that you have all the documents that you were supposed to have they're in that file. Um, so it's just going to make you more proficient. It gives you that reputation of really caring about what you do and your work. So awesome. Um, no, Zaire, I'm really a gentle person. I know, yes, I'm from New York and my trunk is fairly big, but I'm not going to sick any of my cousins on anybody. Don't worry. Carlos, it's just one document. That's all. You give me one document with your name, your student ID number, your URL to your list, and the statements of understanding. One document. You're cool. Thank you, Zaire. That's very comforting. I'm glad you trust me. Awesome. Awesome. That you guys are really sweet. Thank you for those kind words, and I hope you enjoyed even coming on the go-to sessions, um, and know that these are available. These are available individually. If you are struggling with something and you need some help, by all means, email me and just ask me, Miss P, can I just meet with you for a couple minutes? You know, especially when I'm working remotely from home Tuesdays and Thursdays. By all means, do that. I'll be more than happy to help you. And Zaire, you have a question? Do you want to voice that question or do you want to type it in? Okay, if we are all struggling with something, can we do this again? Yeah, as long as it doesn't interfere with my schedule for my online classes, by all means, yes. And we can talk, we can definitely work out a schedule for that. I am all for it. Carlos, does that mean that you don't want to see me face to face? Miguel, yes, this class will be available as soon as we get out of here. I'm going to render the recording and publish it to my YouTube channel, and it'll be up on the community discussion board. So you guys will be all good to go and could refer to this video when you're doing your assignment. So cool. My YouTube, I believe, on this side, because I have several channels, especially with having online. I believe it's Digital Pearson, but you'll the URL to this recording is gonna send you to my page, so you'll get it from there, and you could subscribe. Okay, there was another question. Justin, just a zip file. So I showed you how to zip the document itself, and that's it. So you zip the file, and the zip file is what you upload to FSO, and you are good. Dimitri, good question. You absolutely could submit. Like as you're progressing, you could submit the file, and um, all through Sunday at 11:59 Eastern Standard Time, you can make changes. Um, and you will not have to submit again because your first submission is going to give me that URL to your Diigo list. So whatever modifications you do from here on until Sunday will show when I open that Diigo list. So by all means, if you want to go ahead and create your Diigo and create your list and then submit the document so you know that it's there, go ahead and do that. I hope that answered your question. Yes. Okay. Now I see. Awesome. Cool. Author, the weight, you can look on the platform itself. It'll give you the weight of the assignments. I believe is it 15 or 20. It's 15. It's weighted 15%. Justin, it's very easy, and you could see it on the recording. If you have a Mac, it's simple as putting two fingers in the middle of that mouse box and choosing compress file. Or if you have a PC, you'll right-click on the document itself and then choose compress file, and you're good to go. There's also, if you guys didn't look that up, but under announcements, there is all sorts of helpful links, and it shows you how to do a screenshot. It shows you how to do zip a file. There's things about Diigo in there. There's all sorts of good stuff. So you can go on there. Okay. Thank you guys for coming. I really appreciate the company. I appreciate how proactive you are. And I know that you have a lot to do, and so do I. So I wish you well, and I will totally see you in the morning, bright eyed and bushy tailed, and ready to go. So thank you again for joining me, and enjoy the rest of your day. And look for the recording will be up probably sometime today. Okay? Have a great day, guys.